Just having a look at the oscilloscope this evening. I did the calibration on it and it's working fine. There's not a problem with that. But there is a sort of ongoing sort of problem I have with the display. And I don't know if you can see the display there. You see that there's noise on the display all the time. And what I'm trying to track down is what the hell's going wrong with it. It gets better as it warms up. So I'm starting to wonder if it's like a power supply problem. Now you'll notice that it doesn't matter what channel I use. If I adjust the volts per division, it makes no difference at all. It does exactly the same on both channels. If I call up the second channel, basically the same thing happens with that channel. If you overlay them, you see that they're basically the same, more or less. More or less the same sort of problem. Now, I did find on the internet someone else has had a similar problem, and it suggested that it was possibly bleed through from the calibrator output. Now, I'm not entirely sure that's true. This is the calibrator output here. The noise seems to be fairly random. It's not like a sort of regular sine wave. It's sort of a pretty random noise. Now, I did have a quick poke about on the test points on the back on the inside the unit to see if I could find any sort of like ripple or so. But the trouble is, this only seems to really show up at the very high speed time basis. This is 50 nanoseconds. You see, as I drop down, it's less and less noticeable until it's just like normal background level noise you get on a scope. This is 100 50 nanoseconds, 20, and you can see it's quite noticeable there. So it's obviously fairly high frequency. So searching with the analog scope, you're probably not going to find anything. Now, I wonder if anyone's come across anything like this. And really, this is a shout out for anyone on any of the forums who've obviously someone has had problems with their scope, because they've mentioned a very similar problem. Unless, of course, I bought their scope and not unwittingly knowing it. Also, it's also worth bearing in mind these 2440 scopes. And all of the ranges of the Tektronix scopes, you can't run them without a forced air from this fan onto these hybrids, because I mistakenly actually connected a vent axia fan up on the bench and went inside, and the fan had fallen off the bench. When I got back, these chips were probably 70-80 degrees C. I'm going to shorten their life pretty quickly like that. Now, of course, the other thing it could be is ripple on the power supply. Though I can't see anything sort of obvious. There's nothing particularly bad. You get the normal sort of high frequency breakthrough if you're measuring on ripple on the sort of like on the motherboard or one of the boards sort of away from the power supply. It seems to be fairly high ripple, but nothing excessive. So I'm not convinced it is ripple. I suppose it could be. But as you see inside, there's some funny, quirky things they do in these Tektronix scopes, and I've seen this on other scopes, not just mine. You see this pot standing off the board. Look at this for a right old bloody pigs here. Where are we? You see this? These resistor networks just hung up in the air. These transistors are just looks like someone's just bodged them in to make them work. Now, I don't think that's been done aftermarket. I think it's been done by the manufacturers as a modification, and it's pretty crap actually, because these resistors, these pots here, they're all sort of like floating in the air. Not great for sort of like build quality. But the other side of the board's okay. That looks fine. I don't know why it's just that side of the board that was like that. And funny enough, when I initially got this scope, this tube was very soft, but I've twiddled about with the. It's got a lot of sort of like it's got these edge focusing here, which is probably dynamic focus, which probably modulates the A2 at the extreme when the sweep's being deflected from left to right. It's probably modulating the frequency to correct for CRT curvature, or the slightly longer path that the electron beam has to make. So it's basically, I think is a dynamic focus adjustment. I managed to get it pretty sharp through the edges now. It's never going to be as sharp as the. It doesn't look that sharp on the screen as the Iwatsu CRT is. That's a really nice sharp CRT on that. But it's working pretty well, and it's also quite interesting that looking through the camera here, it actually looks quite blue. I mean, it's actually a green display, so it's obviously screwing about with the auto balance on the scope. And you can see here also I've got this input grounded and it's still there. So I don't think it's the amplifiers. I don't think it's the front end of the vertical amplifiers that are the problem. I think it's a digital noise possible source, digital noise getting through from somewhere. But anyway, if anyone has got any ideas on what it could be, please let me know. The caps in the unit, most of them are normal electrolytics. I can't find any tantalums at all, you see here, but these are all low voltage polyesters, which are incredibly reliable. I'm not worried about those. There are some capacitors in the power supply, and they look alright. There's no obvious signs of them bulging or anything. I suppose they are 30 years old. They possibly have dried up a bit. But as I say, I can't see any excessive ripple on the power supply. So anyway, if anyone's got any ideas, I'd be very interested to know.